Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all.
Good morning, everybody. It is the 30th. We're getting into the end of the month now. And we got a ton of stuff going on today. Well, and we had stuff going on yesterday too, right? Amazon absolutely crushed overnight. So let's go to the charts. Let's see here. Do I have the right screen? I do. I haven't had any problems with that lately. Okay. I have to figure out which chart is the big chart, though. All right, here we go. So you can see the E-mini was doing pretty okay yesterday. We had a pretty good rise off of the open, but then things got pretty quiet after that, and then declined into the close, and then Amazon and okay, and remember, Amazon is like it's like 5% of the S&P 500 or something like that. So yeah, Amazon not doing very good earnings, a really big deal. Now, in the treasuries yesterday, oh my gosh, this thing in the treasuries. Okay, so you remember I was like, well, I think that the yield should be going up based off of the news that we just got, and then it plunged on us, and I was like, what the heck? This is a really weird move. Well, apparently Apple came out and offered $9 billion worth of bonds, and that moved the interest rates 2 basis points. So that's what was happening to us on there. I actually did hold it and made money on that longer trade that I held forever and ever and ever. So, well, I didn't make money. I mean, it was a similar, but you know what I mean. It worked out, right? So, and now in the overnight, the yields have declined a little bit again. So, interesting. And again, like we've got PCE, we've got the Chicago PMI, like some important numbers coming today, and the end of month flow, which tends to be bullish. So, in the treasuries, oil, mildly positive still. Gold and silver, though, I mean, gold took a pretty good run yesterday. Gotta zoom out a little bit more, but gold took a pretty good move yesterday, and the moving average is right there at 1830. I don't have it listed here, but there's a daily moving average at like 1830, right? So, depending on how this news goes, maybe gold finally recovers this. I don't know. I can only hope. Silver, same thing. Copper, just kind of meandering in this range since they came back a little bit early in the week. And the dollar just got crushed yesterday. Look at that. Like, we were up in like the 92.5, and now we're below 92. Pretty ugly for the dollar, but it is going to make things really interesting for us because we get some information that might be bearish for the S&P 500, but the dollar is declining and that kind of helps. So that might make things a little bit confusing. Okay, so coming back over to here, let's pull up our news here. So we get at 6:30 employment cost and wages and benefits, core PCE price index, which is the metric that the Federal Reserve looks at most closely for inflation, personal spending, personal income, all that stuff at 6:30. Some Canadian numbers too. And then at 7:45, and remember, it is released 3 minutes early, Chicago PMI, followed by consumer sentiment at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So, let's see here. What's Winston saying here? The CDC is expected to post new guidelines. This is making news of the top 5 things to know. Okay. Well, the one thing I do remember reading is that the Biden administration saying that if the CDC recommended lockdowns, then that's what they would do. And I'm sitting here like, how could we need to lock down again? That's crazy. But what do I know? Okay, so let's turn on text to speech here. check out Twitter, blow my nose. Let's see here. Wait, what the heck is Nassim Nicholas Taleb saying here? People on this thread need to know that Lynn Alden Contact is a crank in the classical and every other sense of the word that is of the snake oil variety with the intellectual rigor of an overly ripe cucumber. What? What are they going on about? What are they arguing about? Wait, let me blow my nose. I wouldn't really look forward to another 14 months of lockdown, but if they gave us stimulus checks and I could collect unemployment while I could sit a bit longer and watch my cat glow. So I saw an interesting chart yesterday that basically was showing states that ended their unemployment early and states that are still waiting until the end of September. And because, there's been a lot of discussion about, well, we can't tell if the unemployment really is actually keeping people from getting employed again and all this sort of stuff. Now, like, it's from the unemployment claims, it's really, really clear now that the states that ended the unemployment, their employment is rising faster, whereas the ones that didn't continue going down. So, but I really have a hard time understanding the justification for that lockdown, especially if we're not getting an increase in deaths. But I'm a little sweaty up here, man. Look at this. My head's so shiny. I haven't. It's a little bit more humid in the house today because we had a rainstorm last night. Like, it actually rained so hard. So hard. Okay. I need to pay attention because we got the news coming here in 30 seconds. No, robots aren't on yet. We'll wait until after the news. Okay, so PCE price index month over month. I don't want that anymore. PCE was spot 4 versus spot 6. Personal income, spot 1 versus negative spot 3. Personal consumption, spot 5 versus spot 3. These are all hawkish numbers, I think. It initially spiked up, but it's okay. I only lost one tick. So it did cause the treasuries to shuffle around quite a bit, but they didn't move strongly. I find this really interesting. Let me go down through this again. Personal income month over month, spot 1 versus an expected negative spot 3. Real personal consumption month over month, spot 5 versus an expected spot 3. Core PCE price index, spot 4 versus spot 6. So that's good. What do you mean? What did you mean to be 1,364 Americans have died from COVID? In order to code using the Microsoft Agile system, how you make protection, just looking to make an indicator on your own? Well, I don't think that comes, it's just C#, right? 1 in every 364? You're gonna need to give me a citation for that. One in 300. That's I'm gonna say that's probably wrong. A 0.2%. Actually, no, maybe that is right. Maybe that is right. That would be a 0.2% death rate. Which is about what we said it would be, right? That one you can kind of file under how do you use statistics to try and make things seem like a bigger deal or scarier than they really are. Right? 1 divided by 364 is 0.002. Move the decimal over 2 points to get it into a percentage, and that is a 0.2% death rate, which is around what we've always been saying the death rate would be. E-mini moving up. The language and definitions are infinitely more important. Yeah. Hey, isn't that the death rate for the flu? Flu death rate. I don't know. How many heart attack corpses were tested for COVID after they died? And yeah, it could be. Well, and then remember there was this whole thing about, I still need to go and read more about this, but I've been reading a lot of people saying that the test will often pick up the flu as COVID. And that's why there was no flu deaths this year, because they were all categorized as COVID. Well, I'm thinking we should go and read this PCE report, yeah? Current release. That's not what I expected to see. Isn't there a place where it breaks it down? Or breaks down the PCE? So here's the thing on that though, Uzi, is that yeah, it's probably splitting hairs, right? Like if you could come in and you could show that like 10 to 30% of all COVID deaths were miscategorized as COVID deaths, then maybe it would be a thing, but would it really move the needle? Like, would it really change what policy should be? I don't think it would. You know, like if the death rate was 0.2% versus 0.3%, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not sure if it matters. How could you? Yeah, I don't know if there'd really be any way to know. Because when I hear that, all I hear is that the data that we get on these sorts of things is not 100% accurate. Well, yeah, of course it's not. Once you understand how they collect this data, you realize that it's not a perfect analog of what's actually going on. Yeah, that was just something that was talked about a lot at the beginning of the pandemic that I just really don't think mattered or matters still. The sorts of things that matter now is like Israel is saying that their vaccine is only 50% effective against the coronavirus. I saw another study that suggested that the natural immunity was more effective than the vaccine at protecting against both the coronavirus and the Delta variant. Those are things that I think would matter quite a bit to current policy, don't you think? There's definitely some odd stuff going on though, like there's another increase in cases, but there's no corresponding increase in deaths. And all of a sudden the Biden administration is out here like, well, we might have to shut down again, guys, if you don't all get vaccinated. And I'm sitting here like, there's absolutely no way that the science can justify shutting down again. It's questionable if the science justified shutting down the first time. Right? Yeah. And all of these governors are saying like they're not going to do it. I was surprised that 8 days. So you want to go back? You want to go and look at that data? New York Times posts this stuff, right? Oh my gosh, really? Okay. So on the 29th, there was 1,888 new cases, 970 people hospitalized, and 5 deaths. And when you look at this chart, will it let me see move the chart to deaths? Oh, here we go. New reported deaths by day. We were at peak, it was almost 200. Well, during the winter, the peak was like when they screwed up in New York, and it was like 1,000. Okay, but now that we're not stupid anymore, 200, and right now we're getting like 5 to 10. Okay. Explain to me again why we need to shut down. Yeah, and those don't all happen in that day. They're just when they're reported. Sure. Why does that matter? It still doesn't explain to me why a shutdown would be scientifically necessary. It almost sounds to me like somebody at the CDC is concerned that they're not going to be getting all of the attention anymore, and they're just because a deadly day would be dying in a day. Well, but I mean, it all averages out, right? Like they get reported over the month, but there's like that 200 is like every day. These numbers go through every day. Exponential potential. Okay, but it's like not even rising. Like are you trying to suggest to me that this chart is all of a sudden it's going to go like this? Because that's ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. Show me the model that suggests that that's going to happen. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you're saying X thing could happen. That's fear-mongering. You have no reason to believe that that's what's going to happen. Yeah. A bunch of people could just, 50% of the US population could just up and fall over dead tomorrow. Yeah. Could it happen? I suppose it could happen, but do we have any reason to believe that it actually will happen? No. Every piece of data that we have says that although we're having another wave from the Delta variant, that this wave will probably not be as big as the December wave, and that regardless, that we won't have as many deaths, and that there's no need to shut things down because the medical system can handle it. Off to work. I mean, if they shut down, it would be a really big deal, wouldn't it? Right? But I don't think that we have a very convincing case that that's going to happen. the CDC could, like, that's why I'm like, why is the White House saying this? Because it's not going to happen. I have some oatmeal. I'm going to eat the oatmeal. I guess it's more of a fundamental analysis rather than a technical analysis. Well, all I'm hearing is people here, number of cases is increasing. Oh no, lots of people are going to die. We need to shut down again, guys. And what I'm not hearing is, here are the metrics by which we determine what the trajectory of future new cases and future new deaths and hospitalizations are going to be. And this is the threshold at which we would need to meet in order to start justifying shutting things down again. And here's the probability that we are going to meet that. Yeah. So it's like, it's a shame that the market's not selling off of that, because I could buy it then. You get what I mean? Just give the kids what they want, pay their bills, don't have to work, free Netflix, free healthcare, infinity stimulus, no virus worries, our homes can be our coffins, and the streaming world are... Nope. The unemployment benefits are going to end in September, and y'all going to have to go back to work. And I don't think that anything's going to change that at this point. Oh, yeah. And you're going to have to pay your rent in August, too. Oh, we haven't even really thought about that yet, but the moratorium ends today. Gonna be interesting, don't you think? So many for a year and a half now, people have been telling me what's going to happen to the housing market when the eviction moratorium ends. Well, it's coming now. Nobody's talking about it anymore. It's kind of weird, right? It's going to be huge, says RJ Will. I'm actually kind of thinking that it might not be a huge deal. I don't know. Depends on what your definition of huge is, right? 10 cells will be up. Oh, there you go. Maybe. No, I don't think that I don't think it's going to be huge, like this is going to cause the S&P 500 to decline 20% or something like that. I mean, the S&P 500 could decline 20%, but it'd probably be a lot more than just that, right? Lord's offering 15 months of help if you can prove you couldn't pay. There are still other programs involved, right? But I didn't know that there was such a thing as Canvas futures. Okay, well, the S&P 500 had an okay little run out there, and it is now coming back as the treasuries are taking a dive here. I don't know why, but I've drank all my water already, so I'm going to go get a refill. He seems frustrated. Wait, are you talking about me? I'm not frustrated. Maybe I should be going short the treasuries, though, huh? What do you think? Maybe if I could get something like that? I don't know. Oh, you know what? I should have my robot on. I didn't turn my robot on. Shorting lows is always risky. Yeah. So, like, I don't like the way that they popped back up there. Pretty firm. Yeah, I should have had this on for the last, like, 20 minutes. Well, I don't know if you were saying that I seemed frustrated, but I'm not frustrated just because I don't really see any real strong reason for me to have to take a trade today. But I am probably going to be cranky today because I just didn't sleep well. I don't know what the deal was. I woke up at like 3 o'clock, went to the bathroom, and then I was so hungry. It was I never wake up that hungry. It was so weird. So I actually went downstairs and ate a Pop-Tart. And then came back and went to sleep. But I never really like went back to deep sleep. And there was this rainstorm. It rained so freaking hard. It was so loud. Yeah. And the baby has had a fever for like the past 2 days. Just a mild fever, but apparently they're all sick. And I'm just kind of like, what the heck is going on? Those look like they're reverting back quite a bit. The thing that gets frustrating about these kinds of moves is like I can look at this and be like, yeah, they have room on the downside to go, right? Like in ZB, for instance, how about 13 for starters? And then 05 where they settled, right? Treasury 10 year 10 half. 06 half, like they could have some room on the downside, and the numbers do support it. I don't know if they justify it moving super quickly, especially since I think that the Federal Reserve already knows these numbers and they are not so concerned by rising inflation right now as they are getting employment back to where it needs to be, which I hope will return very, very quickly when the unemployment benefits end, right? So it's really uncertain to me how far it will go. I can see from a technical perspective the possibility for it to go. They sure aren't bidding up a whole lot. Should have clicked a little earlier there. Too late. Darn. Yeah, now it's going to go without me. Well, if I was just going to get one, that was a trade. Leave it there. Maybe I'll get lucky. Boom. Dang. Oh, Feds Bullard is going to be talking? Well, now I'm a little frustrated. I don't have the guts to hit into 12.5. What do you think? They going to steep in here? This is a little curious. It kind of looked like a couple of people like bid there at 13. but the 5 years still down in the bottom. I'm wondering if they really actually wanted to buy there at 13. China antitrust officials delay review of Nvidia's 40 billion ARM acquisition. That would be one worth trading for stocks, yeah? Ha. Should be careful. There is a slight chance that we slip into 14 here. I can just kind of see it. They didn't really spend a lot of time there. Yeah. Look at it, just completely pulled. Now everybody's tweeting the Nvidia news. Okay, well, we did fall into 14, but 14.5 is looking a little more solid for now. Nobody's hit it. Hong Kong police arrested a man on suspicion of insulting the Chinese national anthem during the broadcast of an Olympic gold medal ceremony for a local athlete. Wow. Poor Hong Kong. Okay, so I'm just kind of taking a look across the board here, and I see a little bit more risk-off appetite. So, for instance, you would think that those higher PCE numbers would be good for gold. Yeah, no. Rates increasing is bad for gold, still. And they're piling into the dollar here. Maybe the treasuries are coming up. On the other hand, if we are bullish on the S&P 500, I'm not sure if I would be, but it might give you a good opportunity to buy. That didn't sound good. Good morning, Sergio. How are you? You talking, you're seeing the NVIDIA thing too, huh? They're already up to spot 4%. Wow. Well, the thing we got to remember is there's that Chicago PMI number, right? There might be some hesitancy to put huge bets on before that number. And then consumer sentiment too, for that matter. Oh, you're saying that they're down to spot 4%. I'm tempted to pull it up, but I don't care that much. Kind of when I'm watching here on Twitter, I'm seeing a little bit of back and forth about leaked CDC documents. One, vaccinated people can transmit Delta if infected. However, the majority of transmission is still by unvaccinated. The CDC should have released this data earlier. Can't wait for peer review. Okay. That bid there at 13 looks awfully skittish. You can see the 30-year able to tick down. It's not a lot of volume, so I'm not sure we should read too much into that, but I am kind of getting a hint of steepening. Okay, they all tick down there. I'm trying to like breathe here. and like not make a ton of noise. Oh, look at the dollar there come back very quick. Oh, whoa. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. So I'm just reading here now.
Order canceled.
Oh, what?
Order submitted.
That was a little weird. I've never done that before. Robot did take a trade there, but it wasn't it like canceled it and then resubmitted it. I'll read that. Or YouTube Finance.
YouTube Finance says, "Good morning, my friend. I hope you are doing very well, my friend."
I'm doing okay. We'll see how it goes. It's pretty quiet right now. I think it's probably likely to be fairly tame until later. Anyone have a clue on direction? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that in the E-mini it's a short. I don't like saying that, but I feel like I'm giving it away. You see there, the dollar came plunging back and then it swept back up to 94 very quickly. The treasuries, you know, are just kind of chopping around in this low liquidity area around 13.5. But they're not hitting into the new prices yet, but I do think that there's a chance that at some point in the future some of these orders will pull and the rates will increase a little bit more, because the news that we did have was kind of what do we say, hawkish. But then you've got like Amazon is kind of, I think, has the market at the very least cautious right now. Like they rose a little bit after that news, but you can see it was like, it was very measured. It's come back. He says long. Well, now it's a little bit long, isn't it? I will stick with the short. Oh, I didn't read what I was trying to talk about over here. Apparently, Biden wants to extend the eviction moratorium until the end of the year. And Pelosi is trying to get it in. Let's see here. Speaker Pelosi tries to deliver on Joe Biden's late request to extend eviction moratorium until December 31st. Lots of Dems are furious at the late request. We have no idea whether this bill will pass the House, and it's a long shot for the Senate. Procedural vote is at 11:30. No reason it shouldn't pass. There were some problems on broadband language yesterday, but that seems to have cleared up. And then Jake Sherman adds, crazy, we still don't have a bipartisan infrastructure bill. The text still isn't finished. Our sources, many of whom are writing the bill and negotiating out provisions, are absolutely exhausted. Oh yeah. Gotta push that stuff till 2022. I really gotta wonder, like, how far back can they keep pushing it, man? Like, at what point is it no longer needed? Then they're going to come in and they're going to say, oh, we need to extend the unemployment insurance again. Well, the reason that you need to keep pushing the eviction moratorium back is because of the unemployment. And, by the way, the only reason that the Supreme Court said that the eviction moratorium it wasn't going to be struck down was because it was going to expire at the end of the month anyways. So if Congress comes in and extends it, then do they have to go back to the Supreme Court and say, look, you already ruled that it's illegal, and now that they're trying to extend it to December, you need to strike it down? Oh, this gets really interesting, doesn't it? We'll pass an infrastructure bill for $3.5 trillion and then plunges back into lockdowns. I don't think that the $3.5 trillion budget is going to happen. Nope. They're going to get the, what was it, 1.2 for infrastructure. And it actually is for infrastructure. Well, I mean, mostly infrastructure. And then the 3.5 trillion one, Sienna said no, so it's not going to get through. Literally a nightmare scenario social welfare state. They're retweeting James DePore asking, will an Amazon sell-off trigger better rotational action? The big question is whether everything will be dragged down together or whether there will be some tradable rotation. I'm kind of living a little dangerously having a trade on in the Treasury while Bullard is talking here like this. This year's inflation is enough to make up for some of the past downside misses. The Fed should declare success on meeting average inflation target. There you go. Inside day. Well, so guys, remember, we have Chicago PMI at 7:45. Well, 9:45 Eastern time, and then at 10 o'clock we've got consumer sentiment. Those are both big numbers, and the market hasn't opened yet, so I'm actually thinking about this, and I'm surprised that Democrats would go along with trying to extend the eviction moratorium, given the ruling that the Supreme Court made on that. Like, the Supreme Court literally said that the law was unconstitutional, and that they just weren't going to strike it down. because it was about to expire anyways. And now they're going to come in and extend it to the end of the year. Are you kidding me? Oh, look at that. The treasury's moving up a little bit. Are we getting some? No, the E-mini hasn't moved. This is, yeah, it effing is. It's anti-capitalist. It's unconstitutional. It really is. Like the more I'm sitting here thinking about it, the more I'm like, I can't believe that they're... Oh man, I wouldn't talk like that, Ace. I'll ban even you for pulling that kind of shit. You can make a trade, but when you start shoving it in people's faces, that's not okay. Anyways, this might still work out. We'll see. The landlords in California are struggling because there's a mismatch between what property values are. You said, thanks, Seth. Because you took the trade the opposite direction. Hmm. I don't find comments like that funny, to be honest. Because it's like how do I like I'm struggling with the how do you not understand why that's annoying. Okay. When you're trying to take a trade and you're trying to focus on implementing your own strategy, and then somebody comes in and says, I took the trade the opposite because you took it the one way, you're trying to mess with their head. Well, my robot did take a trade. It's not. So I'm not going to take it personally, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want y'all to be like trying to mess with each other's heads and screwing up each other's mental states, right? If we were fishing and you did the opposite bait and caught a fish? No, but I'm really frustrated that I have to explain why that's... Yeah, fishing, you don't lose $50 a fish. I mean, I guess what you're really saying is it's random, right? No, Ace. If you come in and you say things that might impact people's mental state and cause them to trade worse, and it's detrimental to the channel, I'll ban you. And I don't think that I need to go into it any more than that. Bitcoin speculator Steve got to come back with a video about Robinhood IPO. Yeah, a robot took the loser. Sucks. I kind of wonder. It tends one of the problems that I have with the setup is that it tends to happen very light action. It doesn't happen very often in heavier action. Sure, because you're making a comment about somebody's trading. Yes, you did, Ace. You're saying something that the only net effect that you can possibly come off of that is that it's going to affect their mental state about how they're trading. And it's not funny. I'm not going to take it too personal because it was my robot, but come on. Yeah, you asked me, I said short, and so you went long. What you're saying is, oh, your read on the market is really bad and I'm going to go against it. Fuck off, dude. I'm just gonna leave it at this. It was rude and you shouldn't do it. And you don't do it. And don't argue with me about it anymore. Like what you should be thinking is the thing that I'm saying going to help somebody trade better? Or is it going to help them become more confident? Is it going to make them follow their plan better? Or is what I'm going to say make them question themselves and become unconfident and break their trading plan and do something impulsive? Right? And when it starts to impact people's performance, I don't think of it as just a lighthearted comment anymore. If it could when it can potentially do that. Like, I have no interest in sitting here and listening to a bunch of people try and bust my balls all day. Just drop it, dude. Just drop it, because you're this close, seriously. Okay, so initial move was a buy, but the volume is very flaky here. Look at that. Okay, but we've been getting those a lot. That doesn't really tell us anything. Again, wow. You can't read the analogy by way of me apologizing. I'm just trying not to think about it because I'm looking over at this and I'm still mad. That has been 2-3 sweeps like that. Okay, I understand that it wasn't your intention to do that. And it's okay. You don't have to apologize like that. Just what I want to hear is I won't do it. But I'll do better. That's what I want to hear. That's good. Thank you. You know what? I think that like one of the things is, you know, I don't like to put risk on in the summer. Doing this combine thing wasn't really something that I was prepared for. So I'm still really, I don't know, nervous about it. Like I'm actually quite upset that robot didn't work out. It shouldn't be a big deal, but you know, it's how it goes. And so because I haven't been taking things seriously, I'm not in that mode. And now today I'm kind of trying to get in that mode, and I felt like disrupted, you know. What really needs to happen is I need to button down and get a little bit more serious and start finding good opportunities and not trading when there's not opportunities, and dealing with the risk more strictly in preparation for August and the end of the summer. Okay, so they move up in the end over anyways, despite the two really strong sell sweeps. But like I said, we've been seeing sell sweeps around the open quite a bit, and the market just kind of ignores them and moves up anyways. And that could just be like sell sweeps, you know? Now, another thing is I should be thinking, did the robot do the right thing? I don't know. Because the other thing that's going through my head with the robot is like, how do I, because there's clearly some problems with it. How do I need to change it? Maybe I should step back out because it runs on a 5-second chart. Maybe I should bring it out, go back to a 1-minute chart, and look for the imbalance on that level, and look for a much more clear imbalance. Because this one, you know, it only happens when it's teeny tiny. Let's see here. Newsquack says Bullard seems to be shifting tone a little, arguing for mortgage-backed securities and treasuries to be tapered in proportion to the buying before blackout. He'd raised the possibility of tapering mortgage-backed securities sooner than the treasuries on account of the heat in the housing market. Tommy says, or period of time it trades. Yeah, because kind of what it's looking for is all of the orders to be going in one direction. And when the market gets going, at least in the S&P 500, that doesn't happen very often. The flow is actually quite even, and the difference between them is very tiny. You don't get a situation where like 80% of the market orders are sell or whatever, right? So I'm saying like it only happens when it's like low activity. So what if I came back and I said, I need a more sustained period of selling, but the amount of directionality of it doesn't need to be so extreme? That's weird. Baby born with wind inside her stomach in rare pregnancy. Well, you see the cumulative delta there down at the bottom. That's an incredibly bizarre setup that I've never seen before. And look, there's another big cell. Well, they're not concerned about Delta. Powell didn't seem overly bothered about it on Wednesday. Subsequent waves of the pandemic may therefore not elicit as much monetary policy support as the feral hogs may desire. Yeah. So the overall cumulative delta is very negative against this move. It was almost 38,000, 4K. Okay, so we watch for the PMI here, right? Dum, dum, dum. Three minutes early. So basically in 90 seconds. Another thing is it looks like if it maybe hadn't have gotten that initial short, that it might have gotten some longs here. I'm thinking in my mind, like, I could try taking a discretionary trade. I could probably justify it based on the news that we're getting today and the situation if something were to turn around and all of a sudden we wanted to go short. But I also feel like I'm just a little too grumpy today. Like, I definitely came in from the beginning a little bit grumpy because we didn't sleep very well. And everybody in the house is sick. I will certainly do it over here, okay? On a sim, if it turns. Okay, so the PMI has already come through. I don't see a huge impact, but things are pushing up, so maybe it was good. Forecast is 64 spot 2. Now look at that. Market reaction to Bullard's comment says a lot about how unseriously Bullard is taken, Forex Live says. I'm also kind of wondering how long can the E-mini keep going up here and the treasuries just hold that? Look at that. Again. Oh, wow. It's a really high number. Whoa. Okay. 74 versus 64. Or sorry, 73 versus 64. Wow. Problem is the market's already positioned long, so that doesn't necessarily give me a trade. I suppose they could probably continue up a little bit. That's not a piece of news that's like strong enough to like trend all day or anything. You do, yeah. My robot sold before the open. When I look at the trade, I don't think that when it took it that it was a bad trade. It's just that like there was some like long signals after that and everything. I don't know. I feel like that what the robot is trading is too fickle. Normally, I wouldn't think too much about it. I'd just be like, well, I think I need to do some more investigation and stuff. Except for that, was using that for the combine. So like, what you do? Okay, that little take there at 13.5 kind of riled the treasuries a little bit for some reason. I have to say, this is really weird. They did it, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times? And I've never seen something like that before. It definitely looks like a meta order, doesn't it? It's even timed right. 31, 34, 3 minutes. 37, 3 minutes. 44, that was a little bit more than 3 minutes, right? That was more like 7 minutes. But if we did it at 44, we might be expecting to see another section of the order come in if it follows that pattern. It was, yes, so we're talking. Okay, so let me. Do you see here in the S&P 500 these sweeping down air orders? I'll highlight them. So it's coming in and it's selling like 2,000 contracts at a time, and then the E-mini rallies, pushes through it, and then he comes in and he does it again. So we've been seeing this all week, but it was like I would see 1 or 2, and now I'm seeing 5 of them. That's a little weird. I mean, maybe it is a meta sell order. It's just that, like, who's to say why that order is coming in? It could just be taking profits, right? Because he says that's definitely a standout pattern. It really is. Sorry about the 15 points. I know, right? It really took off. There was no way if I was doing it, taking a discretionary trade through that, there's no way that I would have taken a trade through that. So
Winston's mom says, rallies, yes and please will you rally around the like button and hit, smash or kiss the like button. You know why I ask. Spekulators its Affirmationen validation and at ace trades could USA, HUG.
and an ace advantage. Yeah, I mean, I'm was still serious about what I said about, like, we got to be careful about, especially when we joke about other people's trades, that we're not doing something that could potentially influence their performance. But you should also realize that I am just grumpy today, man. I coming in like I don't intend it, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, why would I be grumpy? And yet I am doing it. That's just, I'm tired, I think. So we didn't sleep well last night and everybody in the house is sick. Would that, had I know? Well, but it was even, I said, I'm going to go on a limb and say long and then, or short, and then you went long. I was like, well, I don't know if I feel frustrated though. Like, I'm not sitting here like, oh, I'm trying to do something and nothing's working yet. Because really what I'm sitting here is, I'm like, there's no reason for me to do something right now. Right? Like, grumpy, yeah, I do. Like I was saying, I'm going to go out on a limb and say short here because the robot went short. And when things are calm and generally speaking, it does a pretty good job. I wasn't sure how it would trade based off of the Amazon thing, but you know, it probably should have gone long. Well, I guess the other thing is that it was kind of like there was a little bit of we might have been able to filter that out. Like if I had a filter in there that required more volume and more movement over the last, few seconds or whatever, then it would have ignored that one, and it probably would have taken along around 83, 84. You're going to go short? Wow. Okay. Well, I personally sure am nervous about any kind of a short. So that's another thing, is that I'm sitting here and I'm like, the trade that would make sense for me to put a lot of risk on with would be a short. But the way that it's trading, I'm not, and especially with that Chicago PMI, I'm not so sure that a short makes sense. I continue to find it interesting that the E-mini going so bullish and everything, and the Treasury is just sitting here. Like normally the treasuries would be relatively sensitive to those headlines, and there were all significant reads and everything. The S&P 500 seems to like going long primarily because of the Chicago PMI, but the treasury is not doing anything. What's with that? Something else going on? Maybe people unwinding their hedges or something. I don't know. I suppose if I come back over here and I look at them, I'm not seeing any real change in delta. Like the orders are just kind of flat. Maybe it's just a case of the traders just aren't interested in trading treasuries anymore. Well, man, how hard can they go? I wonder, another thing is, could this be like a gap fill attempt? Like they want to go to 44.05? It says lots of profit taking. So there was a decent little sell right here, but you didn't see the corresponding decline in volume. Oh, look, there it was again. How much was that one? 3,000? So I was about to say maybe that's the sign that the meta order that we're going in, we're doing this thing, that they traded the most of the meta order over here and they're almost done. But then that came in. And it's like, okay, something weird's going on there with that. I don't know what it is. That makes me want to go short, but it's probably not a short. There were times where seeing something like that come in was like, that's news and you should go short there, but has not this week. Opponents of the efficient market hypothesis believe that it's possible to beat the market and the stocks can deviate from their fair market values. Stocks definitely deviate from their fair market values and the market is not efficient, but can you as a retail trader consistently take advantage of that? That's the question. Bullard's still talking. Okay, so coming up on the sentiment final number, they're looking for a reading of 80. Okay, see some profit taking ahead of the news. So it's higher than expected, but only slightly. Okay, well, so that news doesn't really give me anything either. Like, I'm kind of looking for a reason to sell out that move, but I'm just not seeing it. But I really don't think I can justify a long up here either, so what's this? I see somebody's flashing liquidity in the O5 area, trying to signal that they want fills. But it looks like Amazon recovering quite a bit today from its drubbing that it got last night. Oh, what's with that? Just checking Bitcoin, and there's like a period where it just like falls apart. It must be rollover. Yeah, okay. Rollover. Well, we are at a pretty critical, you know, they've spent a lot of time at 4,400 this week, right? I'm sitting here thinking about that robot and just being like, let's just turn it off next week and just take some YOLO trades on it or something, but there's not enough room for me to try and do that, you know? I should just let it stop out, right? It needs to take 2 more bad trades and then it will blow the combine. And then just be done with it. So I don't want to mess with it. I'd rather be taking discretionary trades over here when I have a good read, which I don't have today. By the way, there's a lot more liquidity here in the treasury now. I'm only just now noticing. Like earlier it was like 3K, wasn't it? And now they're putting 5s and 6s on? What's with that? Why is there so much liquidity if it's not doing anything? And I'm noticing that the treasuries are now getting back to about where they were when we had like the PCE numbers and stuff. The cumulative delta is still lower in the E-mini, by the way. I'm kind of sitting here like, yeah, Octavius, why did the liquidity in the 10-year get so thick? So I don't know. It's weird, right? I'm sitting here like, well, we've got an hour left. What am I going to do? Because I don't really have anything to say. I guess I also didn't mention that they did get to the '05 area, so I'm kind of wondering. That's like the gap. Posted it in the Discord. So you're saying that somebody just came in and stacked 2,000 everywhere? That is weird. So like the other thing I find a little interesting is that I'm not really seeing volume come into the 10-year. I'm not really seeing cumulative delta move very significantly in the 10-year. But we are moving up. So it's definitely something kind of fishy and difficult to explain going on here in the 10-year. Although there is a good amount of volume trading into 15 now. Been seeing that size in the ZNZV last day of the month. That is a good. By the way, it's nice to see you again, Greg. They do tend to buy on the end of the month, right? Well, that last tick is more than I can handle on this. And just not that I was like taking too seriously, but just seeing it ticking up is kind of starting to make me a little. It's moving, and I'm not doing anything. You know. Look at that big old fatty order they put in the 10-year. 440150. That's super weird. So Greg, did you stop in because you were also seeing the ES sweeps and were kind of weirded out by it? Like, we've still been seeing them. We still saw one. The last one we saw was 7:55, I guess. So it's been more like 20 minutes now. Like there's that big order up there, and I'm like, okay. That big order is like hyper suspicious to me. Oh, you've been watching for months? It's, it's summer. I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing is before the summer, I felt like, I had some things that were going pretty good and yada, yada, yada. It was like, okay, it's fine. Like, the summer action tends to suck. Then things come back and, we might get a good read again and everything. And now I'm coming through here at the end of the summer. I haven't really been taking anything seriously. And I'm sitting here like not feeling like doing anything when the summer ends because not confident in what I'll be able to do after that either. It's just summer has been so like lately there's been a lot of really ugly sell days. So some of the days when I'm like, oh yeah, this is like it's be fine. And it falls apart. And then the days where it goes like really far, I'm kind of sitting here lackadaisically, Like I've missed a lot of moves lately. They keep pulling the 2K on the offer. Somebody's doing something, and it must be a buy because it's moving up. Did they just pull their order? They did. If that ends up being the high of the day and it's like sell from here, that's like reportable, right? Like if there was spoofing going along, that's exactly the classic spoof shenanigans. I call shenanigans as Octavius. It looks like shenanigans on that. I don't know how I feel about a sell here though. Well, that sure came back to 4,400 quick, didn't it? So I woke up hungry, and then so I ate a Pop-Tart. And when I woke up, I didn't feel so hungry, but I ate, and now my stomach, I feel bloated, and maybe even a little anemic. Masiak says it isn't illegal. It is illegal. If that order was stacked there just to push the market up so that he could get fills short or whatever, and then he pulled it, that's manipulation. People were just prosecuted for that. I feel like sitting down. I'm just gonna sit down for a second. I'm not feeling faint or anything, but I don't feel good though. I hope I don't get this stomach bug that my kids have had. Well, that didn't make me feel any better or different. I do feel like gaseous, though. I see that the treasuries had a little bit of a squeeze there, huh? And the E-mini took another step down. Well, I'm still kind of sitting here thinking I should be stocking a short in the E-mini. It's just like, where would I do it? Feel better at like 99. See, because the issue is that so far the buy looks like a gap fill kind of a move. So it could still be a fundamental short. And you got to wonder, especially with the treasuries going up like that. 94.50. I so really want to go and take a trade on the live account. I don't know why. It's probably not advisable, as grumpy as I've been, but we could try a little sim here. Yeah. Okay. Seeing 5s and 30s have thickened up now as well, huh? Well, yeah, and look at the spread. It flattened considerably. Great spot. Yeah, well, actually it was, wasn't it? Almost got filled there on that. Good. Well, I certainly was able to catch a spot where there's some good downside momentum. I don't know if the spot that I actually caught was actually so great, but it might have just been luck, the spot that I caught, right? Treasury, there's a big tick down. Like, I feel like if I was really negative in the midterm direction of the S&P 500, that I would let them come up for the gap fill and then fade that, you know? And there was fading that whole move. Like, I don't know, man. But the Treasury coming back to the open. 16.5 now too, huh? Interesting. Hello, wake up, Sim. Well, that doesn't look so hot. Drake says, watch the time. Is there something at the bottom of the hour here? Oh, you're right. New York Fed Treasury purchases. Oops. That would maybe explain why it got so thick. Gus, how are you? Well, I'm not hearing anything on my news squawk about it, nor am I seeing any change in my economic releases calendar here. But it's past the time for that, so... They were like alluring there, but they didn't do anything. Oh, now there's 8K at 16? I can see them. They stacked it, and they stacked it at 16.5 now. They're like, we got him to sell it. Now let's squeeze it up again. The E-mini continues to decline. Feel like falling asleep. Yeah, down tick again. Oh, and look, they pulled. Of course she pulled. I'm kind of watching this and I'm feeling like, you know, there's these big orders out here, but I'm still not seeing like the volume really trading here in the treasuries. And I'm wondering if the flow that I really want to see is happening in the actual bonds themselves. Okay, so I'm looking at the chart here and the volumes and everything, and I'm noticing that the cumulative delta continues to be short through all of this. I'm thinking if we had a large meta order to fill the cap, that the meta order was finished up there at the top, and that this pullback that we've gotten to 92 is just the post meta order regime change. It's not necessarily an outright short yet. Certainly, though, if they were to sell it here, we could go below the open. It would be a great setup. If I actually could see. The problem is that if we sell, I mean, the deltas at cumulative delta hasn't been incredibly reliable on the way up. Why would it be on the way down? So timing it would be difficult. 4404 was the sweet spot. Well, yeah, so again, it was like, I really think that order up there was a spoof. Fact, let's post it. Let's go back and find it. Oh, what was that, 01? I thought it was higher than that. No, I guess not. What are you saying here? 440150, 1250. don't see anything. Treasury's still kind of hovering here above these large orders that they put at like 06 half and so forth. E-mini slip in there a little bit. Treasury's a little concerned about it. Need to stretch. No, E-mini comes back up and Treasuries chill out. It's almost like they're sitting here and they're worried about this turning risk off. Pelosi said she thinks immigration reform should be part of reset. These Democrats are just like saying like it's getting worse and worse today, pushing their luck. Thing is, Manchin wants that in there. I don't think Sienna would go for it though. I wonder if any of the political blogs picked up on this stuff. Mitch's Sienna secret. What? What should we put in today's title? I think we should put something about Amazon, yeah? Market recovers. Amazon losses. After Amazon losses. In end of month, maybe? This thing in the treasury, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Again. I'm just like against the trend every time for some reason. A lot traded there between 17.5 and 18. Yeah, they tick up at 18. But it took 10K. Hmm. Like, we're pushing into the high of the week. Like, if they bust through 18 here, I don't know. It kind of makes me think that it's worth a short, but I'm not going to find out. Well, I did take one MES trade and I made 20. I'm trying to be more serious about those, but the treasury trading not so hot today. Probably on all of those I should have just not taken them, but whatever. Then the robot sucked. And I'm mostly just disappointed that the robot sucked. But hey, that could just be random. Probably is just random, to be honest. Although it is odd that it worked so well through June and into 2 weeks ago. And all of a sudden it's just awful. Oh, let me add. Okay. I think this action in the treasury is still really interesting because it looks like some strong buying going into it and that they're trying to push the high of the day, and I'm not quite sure why. I'm not sure if we can explain that just from end of month buying or not, but that doesn't matter. I don't know what's going on. So next week, August, should be interesting. I hope I get some time to do some more back testing and stuff. So I want to fix some of these robots. I think some of them had some good ideas, and I'm not so sure that they're really trading them correctly. So anyways, I'll see you guys Monday. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.